Welcome to Transitions. I'm your host, Antoinette Zloty. When we're looking at retirement, we look forward to retirement with real anticipation. But many of us have transitions besides retirement that we have to deal with. I have a guest with me today, Donna Suggitt, who retired from many, many years of work, and she had other transitions that she had to make. Now, I also have an individual from Winnipeg Ostomy Association, Lorrie Pismenny. She will talk about some of the services and programs that Winnipeg Ostomy Association provides, and also share with us some other things, facts and information that you might find interesting. So now I'll turn to my first guest, and I welcome you, Donna, to Transitions. Now, Donna, you are a person who is very active, and you were active before a major transition happened in your life. Could you tell me a little bit about what things were like before?
Well, before I had this occur to me, I was traveling, I was meeting with friends, I volunteered with the several organizations. One of the main one is the Optimist Club, and I had lots of friends. I kept myself busy and was looking forward to my retirement and being able to expand on some of the volunteer work I did.
So what happened then, and how soon did this incident happen to you?
I retired the end of January of 2015, and I went with friends to the Dominican Republic, came back on February the 1st. On March the 20th, I didn't feel good, so I phoned the nurse's telephone line, and they recommended I go to the hospital. And I ended up going from Seven Oaks to the Winnipeg, it's a Health Science Center now, and then to St. Boniface. I had 3 episodes of my heart stopping, and I ended up having 4 stents put in my heart and was in a coma for approximately 2 months. And when I came out of the coma, lo and behold, I had an ileostomy. And even though I am a retired nurse, I had no knowledge of an ostomy, and all of a sudden I had to transition and learn to live with something totally new and foreign to me.
Mm-hmm. So I should explain then, you were a nurse in the community mental health program, and so like a lot of nurses, that wasn't your area of specialization. So,
that's correct.
Yeah. So who were your main sources of support around that time?
At that time, I had a friend who is the oldest surviving ostomy person, I believe, in the world, and she's a member of my Optimist organization, and I knew she had an ostomy, so I mentioned to her that I had one, and she invited me to the Winnipeg Ostomy Association meeting. And they were a godsend for me. The information I gained there, the supports, I would say they were the biggest support I had because I don't have immediate family. I have a lot of friends, but I would say the knowledge I gained from the Winnipeg Ostomy Association made the transition a lot easier for me.
So that is good that you were so open to reaching out to someone who you know had been through it, because there are many people who would keep it very quiet, a secret. I take it your friend was very open with other people to let them know that this is something that she had gone through.
She is quite open, and I think because of her example, I try to make myself available to explain to other people what an ostomy is and help. I'm one of the visitors that go out and meet with new patients that have just gone through the surgery, and we go there to answer questions, be there as a support for them, as well as to invite them to the association. And so it's, like I say, it has been, my friends are very helpful, I have to say, but the knowledge that I gained to make my life easier and to cope came from the Ostomy Association, because we would meet once a month, and then there would be a peer group that we would sit around and we just discuss any problems or difficulties people were having, and people that have had an ostomy for a lot of years can maybe come up with some solutions for you, and this I found very helpful.
So there were some crucial decisions that had to be made while you were in a coma. Who helped you with, or who made those decisions on your behalf?
A very good friend of mine that has been a friend for 50 years made the decisions for me, and because of the decisions he made, they kept me on life supports. I came through it very well, and he's been was a wonderful support when I was in the hospital and had no one else to speak for me.
That is really amazing. I mean, it speaks to the fact that we really do need to keep our social networks, and not just the friendships that are, you know, very, very close, but keep it wide as well, you know, the people that you meet through organizations and so on. So was there any particular challenge or anything that you maybe regretted that happened along the way in this transition?
I don't have any regrets, because without the ileostomy, I would not be alive today. And because of it, I'm here, and I'm able to hopefully help other people that are going through the same journey that I've gone through. And the challenge, the biggest challenge I had, I would say, was getting used to having the ileostomy, learning how to look after it, learning how to look after my skin, to change it, and getting used to the fact that I had it. I'm very grateful that I have it.
You know, I think I just love your attitude and the way that you transitioned and you adjusted. And so do you have any advice for any people who may have just found out that this is something that they will need to go through? What one advice that you would give them?
One thing I would recommend is contacting the Winnipeg Ostomy Association, because we have visitors that will come out and see people before their surgery, discuss how it has affected their lives, be there to answer any questions they may have about the upcoming surgery, and that would be my biggest suggestion. And to not shut people out, not to isolate yourself.
So in terms of that, hitting on that topic of isolation, I understand that you're traveling at least once a year. You're still enjoying some life outside of the city, you know, going back and forth to more pastoral areas and so on. So have you, it sounds like you haven't changed a lot of your lifestyle, right?
Not really. I mean, I would say I've adapted. With the help of the association, help of friends. I've adapted to the changes that have occurred, and I just have moved on with my life. I wanted to travel, and I'm continuing to travel. And I think it's having a positive attitude that has helped me a lot, and having people around me that were positive.
So thank you so much for sharing your journey and so far. And I would love to have you back later in the show. And now we'll take a short break, and Lorrie will join me. And then you'll be back, and the three of us will chat.
Thank you.
So stay with us, folks. Welcome back to Transitions. Lorrie, I'm so happy that you could join us here on Transitions today. Could you tell us and explain what an ostomy is, and tell us some more about the Winnipeg Ostomy Association?
Sure. The Winnipeg Ostomy Association is a nonprofit support group run by volunteers, and for people who have gone or are going to go through ostomy surgery. The ostomy surgery, most people don't understand what it is. They're more in. They are more. They know the word colostomy a lot more, and then they associate colostomy with a bag. But there are more than just colostomies. There's other types of ostomy surgery, so we just call ourselves the Ostomy Association. Now, the Ostomy Association surgery is usually done due to when somebody loses the function of their bowel or their bladder. And then through the surgery, they reroute the bowel or the bladder through the abdomen, bring it out to the surface, and then where the stool or the urine can empty into a bag. This is quite a major surgery for most people, and then afterwards they have to learn how to handle that bag and how to change it, but eventually, once they get over through that process, they become quite comfortable, and it just becomes a day-to-day process. The one thing about the Winnipeg Ostomy Association, that we have been in existence since 1972. At that time, a small group of ostomates and the physicians and the doctors they knew how to perform ostomy surgery. They knew how it was supposed to work, but they really had no idea what happened to the patient when they went home, how they managed their day-to-day chores, how they managed to deal with their spouses, their children, and go to work and so on. So they, along with some of the patients that they had, went and formed the Ostomy Association, which is still in existence today. That was in 1972. In 1974, these same physicians and surgeons went with the ostomy group, and they petitioned the Manitoba government to fund the cost of the ostomy supplies that they needed to do. Today, if somebody had to pay out of pocket for these supplies, they would be paying anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 a year, depending upon the types of surgery and the state of their skin and so on. There's many reasons for the big difference in cost. So that program is unique in Manitoba. There are no other provinces across Canada that provide this funding. Other provinces do fund some portion of it, some level of it, but certainly not 100%. And if they do, the patient has to go out and purchase the supplies out of pocket, and then have to request reimbursement. The Atlantic provinces do not have any funding at all.
My goodness. So I would suspect that there might be some complications that would develop in the event that people didn't change them as often as they should, and to economize, because if they didn't have the income to support really getting the supplies like they should. And I see you have some supplies here. Can you explain what you've got?
Yeah. When they do the surgery, they bring out a part of the bowel or that is not diseased, and they pull it out to the front, and they turn it over like a sock, you know, and it forms what a little, anywhere from a size of a nickel to a quarter size opening, and it's red, just like if your inside of your bowel would be at that point. They stitch it around, so that's your opening. So then there are thousands of different types of ostomy supplies. The manufacturers go out of their way trying to find different ones, and they come in different sizes and colors and shapes and so on. Now, there's either, most familiar ones are either a one-piece or a two-piece. Today I brought a one-piece. Now, this is the backing that would go, you would peel off this and you notice that there's an opening. This can be cut or molded to fit the size, whatever size you have. And then that goes against the body and sticks there. And it's quite a good seal, because they adhere well, they're waterproof and so on. And then that the ostomate would put it against their skin, and then the stool would just drain into the bag. Now, the bag is got a clip at the bottom, a tail at the bottom, and then you just roll it up. And in this case, it's a Velcro fold, and you can tuck it under all while you're doing this, and you have sort of just, it's a pocket size.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not noticeable discreet under the covers. Yeah.
Have they improved over the years? Were they really big and bulky before?
Oh, you know, we have some examples of really old, and they look like torture type of things. They were metal. This part would be metal with an opening. They had great big humongous belts on, and you had to pull tight. The bag itself was usually made out of rubber, and it looked like a small hot water bottle. They have just gone all sorts of ways, you know, improved, like, and they're improving them over and over. Like this sort of has a material type feel. Others are plastic. In the hospital, they provide them with clear ones, so that the physicians and the nurses can see what's happening before they're sent home. So they do have one piece, two pieces. The two-piece ones are most of the ostomates call them. They refer to them as Tupperware. That's not the Tupperware one, but here.
So you have children whose parents come to join the association, and like, could you explain, would kids be using these, or do they have different sizes for the kids?
There's different sizes for children, and even for babies, because ostomies are done for many reasons, for Crohn's disease, colitis, cancer, birth defects, trauma, which is something that Donna experienced. I have an ostomy because of ulcerative colitis. The babies have little bags like this. They're just so sweet, you know. And yes, they do have smaller sizes.
And just something that I'd like to know too is that, because always you tend to think of things like this happening to older people. Can you just make one comment before we bring Donna back in? What kind of resources do you have for children through Winnipeg Ostomy?
Well, most of the children, what we do is we sponsor a child to go to camp. And there's an ostomy camp held every year in Alberta, and we raise money, or to send children to camp. They find these children usually figure they're the only ones in the world with this type of thing, until they get to camp and they find out they are among a large group. And then they come home feeling far more confident and happy than they ever were prior to that.
That's wonderful.
It's very emotional, yes.
I'd like to just, again, Donna is just about ready to come back on, and we're going to continue this conversation about the great work that the Winnipeg Ostomy Association is doing. So just keep with us, folks, and we'll be right back. we were just talking about stigma, and this is an area that a lot of people have had to deal with. Do you have some comments around that?
We are always battling stigmas still. Ostomy is not a dinner table topic. Trying to talk about bathroom habits is very difficult to get around. People have images of somebody who has a colostomy bag, for example. They think they're going to bulge, or they're going to smell, or they're going to be leaking all over the place, and they cannot even fathom how somebody can cope. But they would be very, very surprised to know that possibly they would be walking or at a meeting or a party, and there would be somebody there who is just acting normally like they would, and they would have no idea. They would be blown away knowing that that person had an ostomy in most cases. Things are starting to improve a little bit. The young people are on the internet. They've just exploded and that's breaking some of the stigmas down there. If you just Google the word ostomy, you'll come up with pages and pages where the young people are doing videos of their ostomy, how to change it, how to wear clothes. The young women are wearing bikinis. So the new generation are much open. The older generation, they're still stuck in the background, and it's not good.
Oh, I see. So I think that sometimes the younger generation can have an impact on us. Certainly, I never thought I would be as good with the computer as I think I am now. But so I think that we can only hope that they'll have a sort of a ripple effect among the rest of society. But something too that from earlier, having to do with the fact that for some people it's a temporary situation because of trauma. How often do you see that happening? Or I guess it does occur where it's a temporary.
Yeah, they do temporary ostomies, and a lot of times the physician or the surgeon can cut out a part of the bowel that is, when it comes to the bladder, if the bladder has got a disease with cancer, it has to come out, can't be reversed. But with the bowel, they can take out the section that is diseased, and from there then they create a temporary ostomy, and allowing the rest of the bowel to rest and heal. And then they can reverse it and put it back. So during that time, yes, they're wearing a bag, and it could be a few months up to a year, so allowing their body to heal so that they can have a second surgery. There are sometimes when, nowadays, the new technologies or the medical procedures are getting better and better and better. And there are times when the surgeon can reconnect the bowel. It doesn't always happen, though. Sometimes they get in there and things just are not able, they're not able to either, because the person is not, can't take another surgery, or the bowel has been too damaged or something like that.
Sometimes the doctors will recommend that it not be done because of potential for infection, potential for leakage, once the body, is sealed and then there's leakage. But it's something that has to be discussed between the person and their surgeon, and they have to look at the risks, factors, and then they come to a decision between the patient and the doctor.
No, that sounds very reasonable, and that's how it is with a lot of health decisions. I think that what I'm hearing here from both of you is a very, really good normalized approach to a health condition that is a reality for so many people. So many people have transitioned, they live very long and very healthy lives, with this alteration to basically what Mother Nature had provided, and using good technology, and hopefully the technology will continue to advance. And if there was, say, one change that you would like to see made, just, I guess, because we are almost out of time, first, yourself, I'll go to you, Lorrie. One change you'd like to see right now in the whole system?
Oh, not necessarily a change, but an attitude, because a lot of people feel that somebody's had an ostomy, they're going to be sick for life. But people who have an ostomy surgery can do anything that they ever did before. We have people who have ostomy surgery. They climb mountains, they do marathons, they build houses, they go into medical professions, they can have children. So there's no.
That's great. That's wonderful. And just one.
I think, and they have progressed, but I'd like to see the sealant to work better. But I mean, I'm not complaining. But I mean, the changes will occur, and they will progress and make life even easier than it already is.
Yes. So thank you, both of you ladies, for coming in, and I look forward to hearing more about the wonderful things that the Winnipeg Ostomy Association is doing. So thank you sincerely.
Thank you for inviting us.
Myself and our viewers.
Thank you for having me.
So bye for now, everyone. Please visit us at our website and check out any of the shows that you've maybe seen before, or some that you haven't quite seen yet.